The election results in Karnataka will be keenly watched, just as any major state election in India is always.
While the Congress is banking on an anti-incumbency wave, the BJP is weighing its chances on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's charisma.
It's been an intense and often bitter campaign. Political heavyweights, we saw crisscross Karnataka. It's a three-way contest.
But right now, in this assembly election, the political temperature here is too high.
But to me, the more important thing is, will the presence of either BJP or Congress change the attitude of industries or companies to invest in Karnataka? And before that, there is something else. There is a lot of discussion about the poll manifestos, freebies. That to me is not the more important point. The important point to me is to decide whether BJP or Congress will come into the state. I want to discuss a very unusual set of data, a data that is not often discussed. And that is also linked with the fact about what we said initially. Will it be affecting these results whether BJP or Congress wins the interest level of industrialists to come to the state to invest? This is what we shall be discussing in this issue of On Point. So as we say, this is a data story, and those data create the perception, which is the all-important one that voters look for when they go in to exercise their franchise. What does the data say about Karnataka? Remember, these are very massive states, so there's no one data set which can actually capture whatever is happening in a state. But what do the numbers overall look for Karnataka? Very impressive. Karnataka has one of the lowest number of pending projects. The data from the project monitoring group shows, and look at this data. This is the data divided state-wise, the number of projects and the number and their amount. Each one tells you that the southern states have the lowest overhang of pending projects. That's very impressive. Then of course there are the fiscal numbers. In FY23, the state has revised upwards by rupees 20,000 crore its own tax collection projection. For the current fiscal, the state has budgeted rupees 1.65 lakh crore in its own tax projections, and yes, it's going to reach there. Or look at capex. In the first 11 months of again FY23, only Karnataka has achieved 95% of its annual capex target of rupees 43,573 crore, while industrial states like Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra have achieved only 61% and 39% of their annual targets respectively. How does Karnataka do it? For one, it has got a very powerful set of officers, and to make them powerful, Karnataka, like its southern neighbors, hardly ever tinkers with their postings or promotions. That gives them the sense of authority to carry on with their projects. The result is, as you can see in the FDI. In FDI, the state, and I am looking at the data here, shows that it was highest among all the states in FY22. Between October 2018 and December 22, it accounted for 25% of the total FDI flows into India. That's next only to Maharashtra. This is very impressive numbers. But are those numbers translating? And that's a very important point. Are those numbers translating into its health and education numbers? Now again, and remember I say this is going to be a data heavy set, because that is how the best way in this season, when everybody's emotion is running high, to actually look at the issues dispassionately. So look at this set of data. This set of data is from the Niti Aayog state performance indices. There are various indices of how states have performed. In some of these, you can see Karnataka is the top performer. For instance, in the beds, in the hospital beds per lakh of population, it is the highest in India. But, and this is a big but, the same state for its health performance index is way down in the league of the largest states. What does that mean? It means that the state where there is measurable possibility, and this is a reflection of what the state administration is doing, that wherever things can be measured, it has been pushing. But where things cannot be measured, where they are intangible, like health performance, the state has been taking its eyes off the target. And as I said right at the beginning, we shall be looking at a very unusual set of data, which has not been looked at this time. It is, again, the central government-led National Panchayat level awards. Now look at this data very carefully. There are two sets of data here. One set of data, and this one shows how the most important panchayats, or let's say basically a collection of those panchayats which have done extremely well, they have figured as awards in the awards list. And the next list is about all panchayats cutting across states, a large number of them who have got awards in all sorts of things. Leave aside what are the specific category. What you find is no panchayat from Karnataka figures in the latest awards list of 23. Why are there no winners from Karnataka? If I were the chief minister of the state, I should be worried, because it means that the performance at what is commonly called the grassroots level is not shaping up as well as it is shaping up for the gross numbers. And there could therefore lie a very important indicator of how the poll winds would blow when the results start getting counted on the 13th. Also, Karnataka is home to some of our best cities. Bengaluru needs no introduction, but there are several others. And all of them are in contention for smart cities. But has anybody in Karnataka recently been talking about the smart cities? This is a state where there's a huge urban expansion happening. But, and this is a big but again, irrespective of the results, would this affect the flow of capital coming into Karnataka? And I would go really upfront to say that this would not. Remember, there's a lot of discussion here about the manifestos of the two parties. The BJP manifesto basically promising a certain set of SOPs, the Congress manifesto promising a lot more SOPs. Give and take something, it isn't really much. What matters to industrialists, what matters to companies is Karnataka's robust performance over decades. Those tax numbers we talked about, the fiscal discipline that we talked about, these also the fact that in many other indicators of Niti Aayog, the state has done well, essentially means it's a state which is going to keep on attracting investment. So for industrialists, after 13th, it simply means either the same set of people or the nameplates change. But the attraction of Karnataka as an investment destination, I suspect, will not alter by this results. And that is all from this edition of On Point.